I'm Megan.
And I'm Shaquille.
And we are going to guide you through a partner yoga sequence today. So we thought this would be a fun way to maybe reconnect with a partner you've been at home with, or even grab a friend or a child that maybe you're quarantined with, that maybe you want to just do something fun, change up your yoga practice, and find some support and get into the poses a little more deeply with a partner. So this class is designed to be all levels, and but that being said, there may be some things that you're not comfortable with, or maybe you need to modify or adjust for your own personal practice. So feel free to take what you like and leave the rest, and we hope you enjoy. So part of connecting with a partner and practicing poses together is connecting with the breath, using eye contact, and moving together, of course. Also using your partner to go more deeply into the poses. So we do need to still warm up like you would for any yoga class. And so spending maybe a few minutes connecting with eye contact and breath before you start, that's optional. And then we're going to show you how to do a sun salutation by using just a little bit of partner connection during a regular sun salutation A.
So, you would start standing just a little bit close, palms touching. And when you're ready, you would inhale, lift the arms, and then exhale, take a step back, into forward fold, inhale for halfway lift, exhale, placing the hands and stepping the feet back, and lowering into chaturanga. Inhale for Cobra, and exhale into downward facing dog. And for downward facing dog, the option here is traditionally it's 3, 5, or 10 breaths, but for time's sake, we'll only do 3.
When you're ready, bend your knees a lot. Look towards the top of your mat or towards the top of your fingertips, and step or hop in between the hands. Inhale halfway for length. Exhale to the mat.
And inhaling, touching the palms again, taking a step towards each other, lifting the hands, exhaling, arms back to the side.
And so, especially if you're not warmed up already, we would suggest moving through that sequence 3 to 5 times in order to warm up for the rest of the practice. For the sake of time, again, we're just going to model the 1, and now we're going to move into a sun salutation B.
So for sun salutation B, you would still stand close to each other.
And then clasping the forearms of your partner. And we're still going to move into a chair pose. This is now a partner chair pose. So, taking the heels together, you want to step back enough so that you feel like you can sink into the pose but still connect and use your partner to go in a little more deeply. So maybe leaning back slightly, tucking the tailbone, sinking low in the hips, keep the chest lifted, find the gaze of your partner, take a breath here. Exhale, straightening the legs, and then inhale, reach up tall, palms meet. Exhale, step it back, and make your way into that forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step it back, breathe through your vinyasa. From your downward dog, right away the right foot steps forward, back heel meets the mat, And inhale, rise into your warrior A. Find the gaze of your partner, connect with the breath. Exhale, plant the hands, step the foot back, vinyasa. Left foot steps forward, back heel pivots. Inhale, rise, warrior A. In your warrior A, your lunge is low, your hips are squared. Tucking the tailbone, engage the lower belly, shoulders relax. And find your partner's gaze. Exhale, plant the hands, step it back, vinyasa. Stepping back towards your partner. Inhale halfway. Exhale, plant. Connect and rise.
So you would rise, then as you bring the arms back down, grabbing your partner's wrist and sinking back into that chair to end it.
Exactly. And then again, we would flow through that that sequence 3 to 5 times again, based on how much warm-up you need. And these partner poses are all about communication and working with your partner in order to get the best out of your practice for both of you. So definitely feeling free to tell your partner if they need to help you adjust with the balance, or maybe as we get into some more of the deeper stretches, just communicating with your partner if it's too much of a stretch, too much pressure, this and that. Definitely, that's a big part of partner yoga. For our next sequence, we're just going to move through a partner flow. So you're going to step your left foot, well, we're both on our left foot. So step your left foot forward and sink low in a lunge. You want to be close enough to your partner because you are going to connect with your partner in this pose. And you want your right foot out back behind you, hips square to the long side of the mat. So coming into a partner version of a warrior 2. Now, we're going to find a connection with the partner in a bind. So we both have our right arms wrapped behind our backs. And then we're going to use the left arm to connect with the left hands. So, sink a little low, lift the heart, gaze at your partner for 3 breaths.
And when you find an inhale, you would release your left arms to reverse the warrior.
And then exhale, coming forward into a version of an extended side angle. And you're actually going to take a bind if it's available and bind underneath your partner's leg and then clasp the hands. You can either take a full bind where the right arm comes all the way back behind you and finds that left hand, or bring it in front and clasp your left hand. If that's not an option, just take your hand to the mat or to your partner's ankle. Exhale, release the bind and rise. And then inhale, straighten your left leg. And then come into your partner triangle. So you may need to shorten your stance a little bit. Walk that right foot a little closer. Arms come out to your T, and then you're hinging forward over the left leg, and you're clasping your partner's ankle, and then opening up, gazing towards your right hand, working towards opening the heart, pressing the left hip forward, the right hip back.
And so here, even what you can do to help your partner out is you can bring your arm back just a little, crossing over their arm, and then pressing forward to open their heart just a little bit more.
And so again, communication is key, so you can tell your partner if that pressure is too much, too little. And then exhale, release, and switch sides. Now I'm taking his arm and I'm putting some pressure on it to open his chest a little more. Bringing his arm forward. Exhale, release. And come back up to standing. And step the right feet together. Now switching sides. Now we're stepping our right foot forward.
So, once again, we would take your left arm now this time, wrap it around your back, and meet that wrapped arm with your right, holding your partner's hand, and finding the gaze. 3 breaths, if that's the number you chose. And once you find an inhale, letting go of that right hand and reversing the warrior. Straightening the arms back out, pivoting the body forward, wrapping that right arm underneath their leg, rather keeping that left arm up, or bringing it behind your back for that full bind. And then if this is too much, you can leave that right hand planted on the ground, rest your head on your partner's hip, and bring that left arm forward. So returning to Warrior 2 on the inhale. Exhale here while glancing at your partner, then inhale, straighten that leg. That's supposed to be an exhale. Then pivoting forward with the backs of your shoulders towards each other. Grabbing your partner's ankle and keeping that left arm up. Maybe opening your partner's chest, taking turns with that. And when you find it appropriate, lifting back up to that triangle and stepping back to meet your back foot.
So again, you could take that flow as many times as you wish. We're only showing once on each side. And now, moving into standing partner poses. Wait for a
First chair, I'm sorry.
So, different people have different preferences in their chair pose. So either stepping the feet about hip distance or so, or taking the ankles together. You'll see each of us are a little different in our chair. And then sinking low. Keep the tailbone tucked to protect the lower back. And then here's where you can adjust with your partner. So if you're too close together, maybe stepping back slightly. Or if you're too far apart, then stepping closer together. You're going to clasp the forearm of your partner here. Keep the heart lifted. And we're going to move through a series of twisting chair pose. So taking the opposite arm that's not holding your partner behind you, take the gaze with you. Coming back together, sinking low, twisting open. And begin to flow with the breath with this. Inhale, stands up. Exhale, sinks you in and twist. Sometimes your partner pulls you a little, so this is where you have to adjust or communicate.
Or lean back more. Yeah, that was 3.
So about 3 times, moving through that sequence.
Or as many times as you need.
Exactly. 3 to 5 is usually the magic number in yoga, but it's your practice, so you make it what you want. So now we're going to come into a partner forward fold, so you're going to stand back to back with your partner. You don't want to be too close because you want to have a little bit of room to be able to fold. And take your feet about as wide as the mat, not quite as wide as the mat. Again, give yourself some room to fold forward. And then once you touch the fingertips to the mat, then reach your hands through your legs and find your partner's hands, find your partner's gaze. And you can soften the knees, don't lock them, just keep it soft and keep your head hanging. You can use your partner to give a little bit of tension and deepen the stretch. We'll take about 5 breaths here. And then exhale, release the gaze. Inhale, slowly roll up to standing. And of course, it always feels good to give a stretch at the top. So now I'm going to continue to face away from my partner and take my hands back behind my back for a heart opening pose.
And then your partner in this case, while trusting you, if they do trust you, starting to lean forward as you hold.
So I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together. I'm allowing my heart to open. He's pulling back slightly on my wrist, not too hard. And exhale, release. I'm going to step back towards him and then switch partners. So now I'm clasping his wrists. I'm going to take a powerful stance in my legs here to support myself as he leans forward slightly. And then again, communicate with your partner. So if he needs more, he's going to tell me, or he's going to adjust his pose, and I'm going to stay here and support him.
And if you're one of those who are like me and can take a lot in their spine, you can step closer towards your partner, trust that they'll hold you, and start leaning even more.
So my stance wasn't supportive enough, so let's try that again. I'm going to plant my feet now and try that again.
Hold it.
So the partner poses really are about trust and communication, and it's very important to build that into your practice. And so we had a chance to model that for you. So now moving into just a few simple standing poses that you can just use a partner to help you get a little more deeply into, and it's just fun to do with a partner. So we're going to come into a partner tree pose. So we're going to take all of the weight into one foot. Start. Which pose?
Right.
On the right, okay. So I'm taking all the weight into my right foot. Come light on the toes of the left foot. And then different partners may have different tree pose practices here. So, we might have to have opposite. Oh, that works. Yeah. So see how Shaq likes to put his foot all the way up on his inner thigh. I like to keep mine more on my calf here, as long as it's not on your knee. Any position for the left foot is fine, or whatever pose or whatever foot you're using to come into tree. And then from here, we're going to use our partner to balance, touching palms, and then grow your tree. If you need a challenge here, you can try looking at your partner, looking up, or even closing the eyes, and just let your partner support you. It's okay to sway a little. And again, it's just about trust, communication, and having fun. So, whenever you're ready, don't put your partner out of balance on purpose. But when you're ready, switching legs, so then taking the weight into the other foot. And finding your tree pose on the opposite side. And so you can do variations of the tree. You could clasp hands like this. You could even intertwine the arms. Grow your tree.
With intertwined arms, I like to call it vine pose.
And again, if you need a challenge, find different variations. Find your partner's gaze.
Throw your partner off balance.
No, that's not part of it. All right, and then our second standing pose that you can use your partner for is another balancing pose. So you're going to step 1 foot forward, doesn't matter which one. And we're going to take the warrior 3. So again, clasping your partner's forearms or their wrists so that you have a nice good grip here. And adjusting for each individual practice so that you feel like you can get the extension but also find balance. So I'm going to walk backwards till he feels steady. And then coming into a warrior 3, you're going to lift your back leg, and then you can use your partner to get a little more deeply into the pose. Squaring the hips, finding balance. And coming out when you're ready. And then take it on the opposite side. Opposite foot comes forward. And so a variation to warrior 3 is arms coming out to the sides like airplane pose. And again, use your partner to help you balance. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just fun. Okay, so now we're going to, a few of these poses that we're going to take you into now as we kind of move down onto the mat are a little bit of acro yoga, and they may take you out of your comfort zone. So we'll kind of give you some tips if you're feeling like it's not something you want to try, or maybe you do want to try it and you want to make sure that it works for you. But this pose is a fairly simple partner pose. It looks a little bit more complicated than it is, but we're going to model it for you. So coming into, Shaq's going to come into a down dog.
Yeah, no, I was facing this
Yeah.
way, yeah. Okay.
And then I'm going to use him to support me in a handstand variation. So I'm going to take my feet on the inside of his hands here. And then I'm going to plant my hands. And then again, this is about communicating with your partner. Make sure that they feel safe, that you feel safe. And if either partner ever feels unsteady or unsafe, you just say whatever word you've decided with your partner, and you get out of the pose. So I'm going to plant my hands, and then I'm going to take my feet, and I'm going to take them to his lower back, and I'm coming into a handstand. So I'm putting some pressure on his lower back here, which may feel good, and gives him a little bit of input here. And then there's different ways you can come out of this pose. I can take it into a different variation, or I can simply step out of the pose, take my feet to either side, and walk out of the handstand. So now switching partners. So I'm going to come into a downward dog.
And then pretty much it's the same thing. So for those with a little bit longer legs, you would be a little bit more further. You would go into forward fold. And then just one leg at a time. Of course, you wouldn't want to jump on your partner's hip. That wouldn't be good. Placing one foot, what I like to do is keeping my feet at a 90 degree angle away from my body, and then placing that on their hip. It gives a little bit more surface area for what you're planning on. And then once both hands are planted and you feel that you're balanced, you can then lift that second leg, then walk your hands back as necessary.
And you can even find eye contact here depending on the flexibility of each partner. And just remember that every body is different, and so it's going to look and feel different for every pair of partners that practices this. But so Shaq is pressing on my lower back and my hips to help me get more deeply into the downward dog pose. And then just by my body being here, I'm supporting him in his handstand variation. So both partners benefit and have fun in the pose.
And then to dismount, just taking one leg at a time, raising back up.
So now here comes the true acro poses. So we're not going to switch partners for these particular set of poses just because I can't hold Shaq's weight the way that he can. So again, every pair of partners is different, and so you work with whoever you're practicing with to see if it works for you. Now, these are definitely to be used with caution, and so we'll show you, or we'll walk you through one way of how to test the partner that's on the ground to make sure that they can support the weight of the person that's going to be in the air. So in acro yoga, we have what is called the base and the flyer. And so Shaq is the base, and I'm going to be the flyer. And again, this is something that you just would have to use communication with in order to make sure that you're both feeling safe in the pose. Now, if anybody feels like they're going to fall or that the base is maybe going to drop the flyer, you always want to have some kind of signal to each other. You want to do this safely. We would recommend maybe on a carpeted floor, definitely, taking it with caution. And again, it's just supposed to be for fun. So in this pose, it's called front bird. And so to test your base, the base is just going to extend their legs. And then you would just make sure that they can take some pressure. If there's any tenderness or any pain at all in the lower back, you would never do this pose. So this is really only for a base that feels like they can take the weight of their partner. And so you can try different things to kind of get into the pose. So if he bends his knees, and if I kind of lean forward on him, he can see if he can take my weight or not. And so you definitely just test before you go in the air. So for this pose, he has his feet on my hips.
And then if you're the base, you want to have the outside edges of your feet lined up with the creases of their hips. That way you get a really good hold on it with your feet.
And then I'm going to clasp his hands, keep our arms straight.
Then you fold forward, lean forward, lean forward, forward. And then at that point, the base would straighten their legs, the flyer would straighten her legs, or his, or, yeah.
And then you just gaze at your partner. If you really have core strength, you could let go of your partner's hands, but we're not there yet in our practice.
Then, to let your partner down, just start bending your legs and the flyer can start releasing their legs towards the ground. That way, you have it.
So that's front bird. And then we're going to show one more flying pose called high flying whale. And so in this pose, he's going to support my upper back, and I'm going to face the opposite way.
And with this one, so you want to have your toes right under their armpits. That gives you a good grip. That way, their shoulders are resting on the soles of your feet. And then before you do any type of lifting, just make sure they're firmly planted. Then at that point, she would start to lean back more. You'd keep your legs straightened as she's leaning back. Then the base would then straighten their arms.
Lifting my ankles, he's pushing my legs together. And then I get a nice stretch in the back bend.
And to release your partner, all you have to do is bend your arms, let them plant their feet, and push them up.
Ah. And then after some intense poses like that, whoever is the flyer wants to take care of the base. And so we're going to take you through a little traction, sacral traction here. So I'm going to clasp his ankles, and I'm just going to lift up so that he gets a release in his sacrum, his lower back here. And I'm going to gently move from side to side, just releasing that lower back because he just took a lot of pressure. And then just taking both legs to one side and the other. One more time. I'm just going to lift up. And just taking a gentle rocking motion. Just releasing his lower back. And And then slowly setting his back down on the ground. I'm going to cradle his ankles and gently release the legs. And the base may need to take a moment here before moving on to the next pose.
But I'm good.
So from here, he's going to now roll over onto his front. And we're going to take a partner Cobra. So I'm going to stand above him. And he's going to take his arms back behind him. And again, he's super flexible here. So you really have to work with your partner as to how much opening they want in the chest. So in stages, I'm going to slowly begin to pull him up into a cobra. So we're going to get that nice grip here so I don't slip. I'm planting my hand. I'm going to walk back until he tells me that's enough.
Keep going. Keep going. You're good.
Okay, so he gets a nice heart opener, and I'm going to lean back, open my heart.
And I'm good.
So again, walking out the same way you came in, slowly, don't just let them go. And gently release down to the floor. And maybe just give some pressure to the back just to release the stretch. And then he's going to move into a child's pose. So starting some cool down poses. So coming into a traditional child's pose, he has his hips back towards his heels, arms stretched out in front of him. And then I'm going to help him get a little deeper into the pose by laying on him. So I'm taking my lower back to his lower back. I'm going to lay on top of him. I'm going to extend my legs, extend my arms. And of course, if this doesn't feel comfortable for your partner, they need to tell the partner on top right away. If you feel like you can't breathe or it's too much pressure, it's not a good pose for you. But it can feel very lovely for the person underneath because it helps you get more deeply into child's pose. When you're ready to come out, release the arms. The person on top is going to plant the feet. And then slowly come out the way you came in. And releasing the stretch. Take your time to come out of that child's pose. And then we're going to switch partners.
So of course here, it's the same as the first. Making sure both you and your partner have a good grip for each other so that no one slips. And then starting by just walking back a little, unless you're tall like me and lanky, you could just lean back. Stop when the partner says. Walking back forward, releasing them gently so they completely back to the floor, pressing the arms down gently. And adding a little bit of pressure on the back to release that gained tension.
I'm going to take my knees a little wide so I have a lot of room for my belly and my chest to come through, and then extend the arms.
And here, same as before, sitting down. And gently rolling your back onto theirs, waiting for any response from them, if there is a response at all. You can straighten the legs. And when you're ready to return, bending the legs, pressing your arms down to the floor, and gently rolling back up. You can press yourself up by pressing on your partner's hips, and that gives them just a little bit of more massage as well. And then standing up.
So some partners may choose not to switch in certain poses. So if that felt like you couldn't breathe or there was too much pressure, then skip it. Just like we chose not to switch partners in the flying poses. So from here, since I'm already on my mat, I'm going to come into a plow pose.
So you can help your partner into their shoulder stand if shoulder stand is what they would like to do first. Then releasing their legs back down into plow. And you would take a seat, make sure their feet are planted to the ground, make sure they can breathe too. And you can scoot up, place one leg at a time on their legs, and walk your hands up slowly into a forward fold. Or you can grab your partner's arms if they're stable enough. Slowly just release. Let your arms back down. And if you want, you can help your partner release plow and roll them slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae. And release their legs to their own will.
And the partner that was in plow might want a short fish pose to counteract the stretch. And then
Other partner just sits there and watches.
And if you're taking a fish, tuck your chin and recline back to the mat. And then switch partners. So he doesn't need a lot of help coming into shoulder stand. But when he's ready, I'll help him get into plow. And so he has a different variation with his hands than what I was taking. So he has his hands clasped, and I'm going to take a forward fold on top of his plow pose. My legs are on top. I'm just going to fold forward. And then I'm going to take my feet off of him. He sometimes likes to take the ear pressure pose, which I don't take. So he's squeezing his knees around his ears as he slowly comes out. And I'm going to help make sure that he comes out safely. And then, you need a fish pose?
No, I'm good. No fish pose for me.
Okay. So, like we keep emphasizing, have fun with it. It's your practice, and so you can take out what you like or add in something else that works better. So we're continuing our cool down poses, seated postures. And so we're going to come into a partner revolved head of the knee pose. So we're facing each other with our feet together, and we're going to use each other to go more deeply into the pose. So we're clasping opposite arms with opposite hands.
And you can lift your opposite arm and reach that arm towards your right leg.
Or whichever leg you're leaning towards. And so, yes, we're both reaching towards our right leg. So we're leaning away from one another.
Because we're both holding our right arms. That's how it works. We only have to.
So if you can, you're going to clasp either your partner's toe or your toe. And we're going to take a few breaths. You can find that eye contact with your partner.
But in this pose, make sure that you're trying to keep your back as straight as possible. You don't want your shoulder going below your ear. You want to make sure that your shoulder, ears, and other shoulder are aligned.
And also that your heart is opening. Use an inhale to come back to seated, and then switch your grasp, and then switch your stretch. So you can stay in this pose as long as you wish. We're taking about 5 breaths. Don't tickle your partner's foot if they're ticklish. And then from here, we're going to come back to back. So taking either a Baddha Konasana with soles of the feet together or just a regular cross-legged position, we're going to take a double twist. So you want to use your partner to sit up tall. So making sure that your lower backs are pressed together, your shoulders are pressed together. And I'm going to take my left hand onto his, what is this? Your right?
My right.
Okay. So I'm going to take my hand, the hand that's closest to him, I'm going to take to
Her
his.
left hand is going to go
to his
my right leg. Then my left arm will go to her right leg.
And then we use each other to twist. So, wait, put this hand on your other leg. So you're twisting. There you go. So using each inhale to lift the heart and exhale to deepen the twist. And then switch sides. You might want to do it more than once. And then from here, you're going to extend your legs. And we're each going to take a forward fold / back bend. So I'm going to begin to fold forward, walking my hands towards my feet, and Shaq is leaning back on me. So he gets a back bend and a heart opener, and I get a supported forward fold. And by his weight coming onto my back, it puts me a little deeper in the pose, and it gives me a little bit more of a stretch.
And if your partner can take a little bit more, you can lift your hips. And that way you're in a reverse plank. Come back down gently.
I can't give as much weight, so I'm trying to.
And that's okay, because I can't go that far down.
I'm trying to maximize the weight I'm giving to give him an enhanced stretch. Now, if you choose to hang out in this pose for a while with your partner, you may find that you go a little deeper with each breath. Or if you choose to practice this sequence more than once, you may find that each time you do it, you go a little deeper.
Then, to end that practice, you would shift over to one side. Wrap your hand, your partner's waist, and then slowly release down. This would bring you into a partner shavasana. And at that point, you take as much time as you need. When you're ready to get out, you could bring your knees to your chest.
And then roll to opposite sides. So you make your way into a fetus pose facing opposite directions. And then you take your time here, kind of reconnect with your breath. When you're ready, pressing the top hand into the floor, making your way to seated, and facing your partner.
And this is when we say